Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Asia if you're new here. Today I'm going to be doing a review, first impression, and wear test of the CoverGirl Vitalist Healthy Elixir Foundation. Looks like this. Little pump and gold. It's cute. It's a little bulky, but I like it. I like the pump. It doesn't really say much on the package. It just says foundation with vitamins. Broad spectrum SPF 20. I got shade 720 Creamy Natural. It is not my shade. I swatched it on the back of my hand and it is very pink. So we're just gonna try to make this work. 710 in the store looked probably the closest to me, but it was a little too light, so I went 720. All the shades in the store looked like a really pinky undertone. I believe that's why I stopped wearing CoverGirl foundation years ago. I haven't tried a CoverGirl foundation in years. I just could never find a good shade match. They all had that just pinky undertone to them. So it says lightweight, full coverage makeup. The formula hydrates and includes a complex of SPF 20, vitamins, and an antioxidant. It doesn't say which antioxidant, just an antioxidant. Oil-free. So yeah, we'll see. Lightweight, full coverage. Directions: apply liberally 15 minutes before sun exposure. Reapply at least every 2 hours. So if you guys are looking for SPF in your foundations, the general rule of thumb is reapply every 2 hours. And yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. So I'm not using it for any SPF protection whatsoever, because who redoes their foundation every 2 hours? Who? So I have already prepped my face. I used the Tachi water cream today. I've been really liking that. I didn't want anything to really affect how this wears, so we'll see. Let's get started. I'm going for a lion's mane today. What do you think? Little crazy hair day? It's fine. I'm going to be doing half my face with the Beauty Blender and half my face with the brush. Today I'm using the Sigma Round Kabuki F82 brush. Had this for years. I really like it. I'm going to pump a little bit onto the back. This is just a Bath & Body Works candle lid. Let's go ahead and we'll do this side. We'll do this side with the brush. On my birthmark side, I tend to like to use a Beauty Blender just because my birthmark's really textured, so brushes tend to really cling and gather product around it. It has a very strong smell. Wow. And it's not the normal CoverGirl smell. It's like perfumey lotion. So it's actually applying really nicely, and it does have a nice finish. Besides the stupid color, I'm going to bring this down my neck a little bit. So with one layer on, I really like that finish. It's a very nice, glowy, but not oily finish. It did a good job at evening out my skin tone on the first layer, but there's still a lot of hyperpigmentation and scarring showing through. So I would say with one layer, it's about a medium coverage. I'm really liking that finish a lot. I don't like the smell. After it kind of sits for a minute, I don't know if I'm just getting used to it or it's kind of dissipating, but so I did all of my neck too, so I would, with one pump, I would have enough to do my whole face, probably. I'm assuming. We probably shouldn't assume. So I have this huge monster here that decided to just make its way into my life. But we'll see. I don't see it covering that, but so I definitely love the way it's looking around my pores with the Beauty Blender. It gave a way better coverage. I really like the way it's looking around my pores on the Beauty Blender side better than the brush side. However, I like the overall coverage better with the brush. So I'm gonna go in with my Beauty Blender and just try to build up some of these areas and see if we can get it to more of a full coverage. Because I have such oily combo skin, I don't like going in with a second layer on brushes unless it's like a super quick drying foundation, because most times if I try to go back over it with a brush, it just lifts off the first layer. So I most often will do a second layer with the Beauty Blender. I'm really liking this finish. Yeah, I wouldn't call this a full coverage. I mean, I did 2 layers and my zit and a lot of my freckles and pigmentation and all that crap still showing through, but it did do a really nice job of evening out my skin tone. Let me get a little bit closer so you guys can see. So you can still see, like, on this side, see how my pores just look a little bit more blurred than on the brush side? Not a big difference, but it's something I noticed. And I love how my skin just kind of has that healthy skin glow. The color is not as awful when I blended it down my neck. So I'm gonna put on some concealer and do the rest of my makeup real quick. For you guys, I'll be back like that. Okay, so I poked myself in the eye with my mascara wand like 4 times. But besides that, foundation has definitely oxidized a shade darker already. It is 10:17. Let's call the check-in time 10 o'clock because I did take a little bit longer to do my makeup because I kept poking myself in the eye with my mascara. Good times. Everything went on all right. I have this area right here of scarring underneath my birthmark, and because my birthmark is raised, I do have trouble right here normally with foundations, kind of, when I try to put product over them, it kind of gathers. So it did do that on this foundation. It was a little bit harder to blend out around that area, but where I don't have the scarring, everything blended out really nice. Yeah, so it is, we'll call the check-in time 10 o'clock and we'll see how this wears. I'll check back in I'll give it about 4 hours and we'll check back and see how it's holding up. I really, really like the glowy finish of it, but because I am oily, especially in my T-zone, that tends to get way past glowy here real quick. So we'll see what happens. Be right back. All right, guys, it is 2:55, so 3 o'clock, 10. So it's been on for 5 hours. Besides the color, I mean, I'm like way tanner than I should be. I mean, I guess it kind of like matches the rest of me is pretty tan, but I know that this is not my correct color. It did definitely oxidize after about the first like half an hour, but it hasn't gotten any darker. It's holding up really good, especially it is 92 degrees outside right now, and I've been outside working in the garden. Not too bad, but I was definitely working up a sweat. So 5 hours in, and let me get a little bit closer so you guys can see. I don't really see anywhere where it's breaking apart. It is kind of in my smile lines here and a little bit in my little forehead wrinkle, but not bad. I'm really curious to see. I'm gonna keep it on for a few more hours and I'll check back in with you guys. I'm pretty impressed how it's not breaking down. I wouldn't say I'm in love with it, but I'm not mad at it. Like, I feel at this point, seeing how well it's wearing, that I will definitely want to play around with it and maybe try different primers and mixing in a lighter foundation to try to get a better color match. But yeah, so this is at the 5 hour mark. Stay tuned, I'll be back and we'll check in at about 8 hours and see how it's held up. Thanks. All right, it is 6:15, so it's been on over 8 hours. and I'm tired of worrying about touching my face, so I'm filming my final check-in. Final thoughts, it's definitely not full coverage. It's not a full coverage foundation, but it is a really nice medium foundation and even light to medium coverage, and it does hold up really well on oily skin throughout the day. It hasn't broken apart or anything like that. I'm definitely shiny, but that's normal for me, so that's not a huge thing. I've definitely been way oilier by the 8-hour mark than I am now. This is very easily managed by just some blotting tissue or powder or whatever you want to do. The main thing is that it's not breaking apart. I don't like the smell, but that does go away once it dries down. The finish, hands down, is beautiful, especially as combo oily gals. We have our natural oils that mix with foundation, so anything after a few hours tends to look dewy anyway. But I will say that first initial application, beautiful finish, loved it. It is a foundation that I want to play around with as far as mixing with other foundations or trying different primers. I think that if I use an oil control primer, I might have better luck with it. I don't like the shade range at all. I think that they need to offer a better selection of neutral and yellow undertones. In Ulta, I think there's 6 total shades. On CoverGirl's website, I think there might be 12. I'm not for sure, so don't quote me on that. But that's not a huge shade range, and looking in the drugstore, the colors that I had to pick from were so pinky undertoned. I don't know. I mean, you can make anything work, right? I made it work. It's way too dark for me, but I made it work. If you don't have a lot of scarring or anything like that to cover, on this side of my face where it's just freckling and stuff and not a lot of scarring that I have to cover, I absolutely loved the way it went on and all of that. But on this side where I have my birthmark and scarring right around here, I didn't care for the way that went on. But I am really curious to know if you guys have any tips or tricks or ways that you've tried this foundation or combos of this foundation with primers that you've used that you really like if you have combo or oily skin. So I think that's it. Oh, and I did want to say I loved the way it went on with the brush. I have trouble with brushes a lot of the times being really streaky because foundations don't grab my skin. If you have dry or normal skin, maybe you might have the opposite problem, is that they grab too much, right? But that's, for combo oily people, that's not really an issue. It's more getting it to stick to your skin because things just float right off your face. But this went on really nicely and blended out really nicely. So I really liked that. I preferred the coverage with a brush, but I like the finish that it gave around my pores better with a beauty blender. So in the future, what I will do, I think, is do the first layer with a brush and then the second layer just kind of tap it out with a beauty blender. I think that's going to be kind of the best compromise for me. So I will stop rambling. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and let me know if you guys are going to purchase this. Have a nice night. Bye-bye.